Welcome back to another edition of Straight Outta Flushing. Special emergency episode, I guess you can say here. Dexter Henry along with New York Post Mets beat writer Mike Puma joining me here after news coming down that Juan Soto will go on the 10-day injured list with a calf strain, expected to miss about 2 to 3 weeks. Mike, I'll start here with you on this. What was your reaction to this, especially when we knew he had the calf strain? He had talked to reporters on Saturday, and then now it was going to be determined whether or not he'd go on the IL. Now that he is on the IL, what's your reaction to Juan Soto going on the IL for 10 days?
Yeah, it's not a surprise because I could tell by Carlos Mendoza's body language the last couple of days that he wasn't optimistic that they would avoid the IL with this, but I think they just wanted to give it a chance to see if something happened where maybe he could play, and they played short for a couple of days, but they got through it. But this seems like the smart move here. Just shut it down for a couple of weeks, maybe 3 weeks, and then ramp it up again, because there's no reason to try to push through this right now.
Yeah, no, you want to, especially this early in the season, you want to take the cautious approach here. Is there any level of concern from you that this could linger longer than that initial timeline? You just talked about 2 to 3 weeks. Is there any level of concern for you with that for Soto?
Yeah, and with the calf, I think you've got to be a little bit worried about it, and but the fact that he's calling it, at least Soto called it a minor strain. The Mets are calling it a minor strain, so um, you know, unless there's more to it that we don't know about it, but you always worry that it's going to be longer, but. I still think the right move here is just to not try to play through it this early in the season.
Yeah. Now, here's where the Mets fans are going to panic. They're going to say, hey, look at this, Mike and Dex. Soto's been one of the, if not the only consistent bat in this lineup thus far in the early season. How much does this injury now expose just how fragile this Mets offense has been early on?
Yeah, it has been fragile the first two series. At least it was Pittsburgh and St. Louis, but they broke out of it this weekend in San Francisco, and a lot of that was without Soto, I would say. So, guys are starting to come around a little bit. We saw Marcus Semien contributing here, and Polanco, and Bo Bichette's been a little bit up and down, but he's been in the middle of a lot of stuff, and Alvarez with Francisco Alvarez with a long. So you're seeing other guys starting to step up here, and that's a good sign.
That was a good sign. I think that's the encouraging sign coming out of San Francisco, where they took 3 out of 4. But I think a lot of people will look at this too, Mike, and say, all right, well, now that Soto is going to be out, thinking for a couple of weeks, does this put pressure on Francisco Lindor, who's off to another slow start? We know Lindor gets off to slow starts, but does it put, pressure on him to carry the offense, or do you think we can see more consistently other guys stepping up like we saw in San Francisco?
Yeah, I think it'd be unfair to put it all on Lindor's shoulders, and as tough as it's been for him getting hits here, he is still getting on base at a decent clip, getting his walks, and we know from the seasons that he's been here, Lindor's not a great player in April, and he's coming off the hamate bone surgery also, which shortened his spring training greatly. So I think you just got to be patient with Lindor, but I think it'd be unfair to put it on his shoulders and say, okay, he's got to carry this lineup now.
Yeah, you need other guys to step up. And speaking of this lineup, Mike, and you look at the internal options. So Ronnie Mauricio now back up with the team with Soto on the IL. And you would think, well, there's a lot of options. I was not say think. There's a lot of options the Mets can go into the outfield, right? Tyrone Taylor could be an option. Brett Beatty could get some playing time more in the outfield, maybe in left field. That would mean some more time for Mark Vientos at first base. Do you think this opportunity for those guys, Beatty, Vientos, do you think maybe Soto going down could be sort of blessing in disguise for those guys to get some more reps and more at-bats here?
Yeah, and it could be. And I don't know how I left out Vientos before when I was talking about the guys who have gotten hot here in the last few days.
Yeah, he's gotten hot.
Vientos only at the top of the list. He's been terrific here. And this will give him some opportunity. And we saw in left field yesterday, a guy like Jared Young gets in there
Yep.
and gets 3 hits, makes some good defensive plays, and I think they would put Brett Beatty in right and move Carson Benj over to left,
Hmm.
and Beatty was supposed to play yesterday, and he jammed his thumb, and they're giving that an extra couple of days here, but. Yeah, I mean, I think you look at it as the bright side is you get to try and find out about a few guys here, but yeah, Vientos has uh, really turned it on here over the last week.
Vientos, him turning it on, Mike, it felt like coming into this season and everything with him making the team out of spring training, this feels like put up or shut up time for him. And that's even why I brought him up specifically. This even feels more like a bigger opportunity for him, knowing with Soto out, knowing that he'll get more at bats. He's been hitting the ball really well to start this season. Do you see anything different with Vientos right now? You being in the clubhouse every day, anything different with him, with his approach or anything like that, with the way he's been
Not
hitting the
real,
ball?
yeah. No, I mean not really. I think he's just got some confidence here,
Mm,
and he's getting a chance to go out there and play every day, which helps too when you don't have to wonder if you're going to be in the lineup. And listen, I think his defense has been solid here at first base. He's made some plays over there, and that also breeds confidence. So yeah, but you're right about the Vientos. This is a big, kind of that put up or shut up year for him.
yeah, no, it is for sure. When you look at this team now without Soto, Mike, for the next couple of weeks, and the schedule's been, you could say it's been soft to start the season, but there is a road trip coming up next week that is going to be a little bit challenging. Where the Mets will see the Dodgers for the first time this season. What's the biggest thing you think that has to happen for the Mets, particularly offensively, because the pitching has been strong thus far, for them to survive this stretch without Juan Soto?
Yeah, and it's just got to be that team approach that we've seen here up and down the lineup. Not putting it on one guy's shoulders. And you're right, that's going to be an interesting road trip. They come out to L.A. for 3 games, and then they go to Wrigley Field for 3 games.
Yep.
And the Cubs are a team coming off a playoff appearance last year. They've got a very good team again. So yeah, that's going. And listen, you can't look past any of these games. Certainly, they got the Diamondbacks coming up and the Athletics over the weekend at Citi Field. But no, it's just going to have to be that grinded out approach that we saw in San Francisco over the weekend.
Yeah, they definitely grinded out there. Speaking of that, a couple more things, Mike, before we get out of here. San Francisco, as you mentioned, they took 3 out of 4 over the weekend. They had that grind out approach. The offense showed some life. We'll have to see how they bounce back, in the games they have back at Citi Field this week. But did you get a sense that the team has maybe snapped out of their funk a little bit, or, maybe got the monkey off their back? They're finally able to score some runs. What was the sense you got from the clubhouse after Sunday's win in San Francisco?
Yeah, I think they're a little bit more relaxed now, and scoring some runs will do that. And the consistent thing is they've gone 2 full turns through the rotation now, and there's really only been what you would consider one clunker in that stretch. That was David Peterson's start in the first game out in San Francisco, and you had one Peralta start that was kind of so-so on opening day. But other than that, I mean, the starting pitching has been terrific here, and it's given them a chance to win every day. And I think that was the biggest concern coming into this season was how's this rotation and hold up. Now it's obviously they've got to stay healthy, but through these first 10 games here, you would say it's the rotation that's carrying them.
Yeah, rotation's been good. How about the bullpen too, Mike? The bullpen's been really impressive as well too. The pitching all around has been impressive for this Mets team. I'm not sure the last time Mets fans have been maybe this confident in a bullpen. I know it's early; it's only 10 games, but how impressed have you been with the bullpen thus far?
Yeah, it's early, and yeah, but I like Tobias Myers is a guy they picked up in that Peralta trade, and he's proven to be kind of an important swingman that can give you the multiple innings in the middle. And Luke Weaver's been very good, and we've seen Devin Williams in the 9th inning, and Brooks Raley is been terrific just about his whole tenure with the Mets. So they've got some options here, and let's not forget about Sean Manaea coming in that first game in San Francisco and soaking up some innings so they could save the bullpen. So all the way around, they're getting the pitching.
Yeah, they have been getting good pitching, and we're going to see if the offense can continue the good vibes that they had in San Francisco. But they will have to do it for the next couple of weeks, at least, from what we're hearing, without Juan Soto on the 10-day IL, expected to be out anywhere from 2 to 3 weeks. We will see how that goes. That is Mike Puma, our great beat reporter covering the New York Mets for the New York Post. I'm Dexter Henry. Thanks for joining us. We have a lot more coming on the Mets on Straight Outta Flushing.
Thanks, Dexter.